Hello and welcome to Caregiver Convo. I'm Alexis Williams, and to my left, I have the pleasure of being with Pastor Odell Cleveland. How are you, Pastor O?
Doing great, doing good, looking good, smelling good.
So, why do you have glasses on this morning? Out of curiosity, did you go to the eye doctor?
No, these are shades. You know, the other day you had these shades on called Fierce and Fabulous.
No, fierce but fabulous.
Fierce but
Thank
fabulous.
you very much.
So I decided to be cool and cooler.
Oh.
So I want to be the cool caregiver today. Why, what did you think when you saw my cool shades, Alexis?
If I'm honest, I thought you'd been to the eye doctor, and maybe you
Oh.
shouldn't have driven today, that your eyes were dilated and you had your shades on coming in early.
Okay.
Or, I'll be honest, I thought you were going to do a Stevie Wonder impression, perhaps.
Well, you know what? I wanted to be the cool guy with the good-looking suit on and
No
no
socks?
socks. Yeah, no socks. How can you be cool with shades and no socks?
So do you need an ibuprofen after doing that? That's a long way
I
up.
don't have a cramp. Alexis.
I don't have any mustard with me.
You don't have any mustard?
They say mustard is good for cramps, so
There you go.
I do have ibuprofen, but I don't have any mustard. So just out of
you're
curiosity.
saying at 62, I shouldn't be able to put my foot up on the table.
No, I'm just saying it's risky. You need to be careful. Getting you out of here safely might be tough.
Okay.
If it gets fixed up here on the table and you can't get it down.
Is this just like church basketball?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned church basketball. My husband had an orthopedic tell him one time, remember, you're not 21 anymore, so maybe you should take up tennis instead of basketball.
You know, it's interesting. No one wants to be reminded or told the truth that we're aging.
Oh, and we're aging every day. Remember, I point that out to you every single day. We are aging.
Even with my cool shades on.
Even with your cool shade. Okay, you say that, but I still like mine better.
Okay.
I still think you should put these on.
I'll let the
Because
audience...
remember, we're fierce but fabulous. Oh, those are much better.
Those are much better?
Yes, I can see you, so I can see if you're rolling your eyes at me.
I can
Which
see
you might be doing.
clearly now the rain has gone.
And isn't she lovely? That's what you're saying. Yes, that's right.
Okay, now I can't sing, so I'm not going to sing. So we're going to leave that alone, you know. But back to the we're all aging on to death. So how do we prepare? How do we prepare when we age for our loved ones? Because we talk so much about caregiving and caring for others. Maybe, just maybe one day, those children or children of mine is going to take care of me.
Of cool and cooler. Well,
as they change my depends, right? You know, cool and cooler.
So funny you mentioned that. Thinking about the future, that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
In my experience in dealing with caregivers, I find that sometimes we have the best of intentions. And we are busy taking care of our loved ones, but sometimes we don't always feel comfortable asking tricky questions or conversations that can be hard. And then we also don't look at our lives. So one of the things I wanted us to talk about was, I think that in every household that you should have a designated spot for important papers. And like at my house, I brought a file today to kind of help us remember what should go in the file. But in my mind, it's something that is accessible, it's easy to get to, and we need to tell others about what is in this designated spot. So like at my house, it's in a filing cabinet on the right. Some people put their important paperwork in a fire safe. Some people put it, in a filing cabinet. But in my mind, we should all be of the habit of putting our important paperwork in a certain area, and then we should probably tell others about where that proper paperwork is.
But who the others? Who would have access? Because everyone's not trusted to know about all the important papers, because it's just like someone has a power of attorney or a power of healthcare issues.
So
it's certain people are trusted and other people are not trusted. Because someone told me this the other day, a gentleman I haven't seen in a while. He said, Odell was my mentor and I was his tormentor. So, yeah, and the guy, good guy. But, as much as we love our children, all of our children have certain gifts, and certain strengths and certain weaknesses. So, do we want to have all the important information accessible to everybody?
That's a good question. I think sometimes it's important to think about who you trust and who you would want to help advocate for yourself. So you raised a good point. So I brought my durable healthcare power of attorney. It's got my name on it. And I have another copy that is in the designated spot in the filing cabinet. And who I've told are people that I trust and people who I have discussed with them what I would want to have happen if I could not speak for myself. So to your point, I think it's important that we be responsible.
Yes.
And that we think about who we would want to act on our behalf. We probably need to ask them, would they be willing to act on our behalf? And then inform them about the topic you want them to speak about. So like in my mind with this is the durable healthcare power of attorney. So in my mind, I need to pick someone who's going to help me if I'm not able to speak for healthcare matters.
Your children?
I would probably ask my sister actually right now.
Wow.
I'm 53, so I'm thinking that maybe I would ask my sister or my husband. My husband is probably the first person. The second person would be my sister. But I have told my husband where the file is. Now, does he remember where it is? That's a whole nother subject.
He remembers.
It's a whole nother subject. But I have told my sister where it is. And I've actually I videotaped it, but I also FaceTime with her and said, hey, look, it's over here on the right side of the cabinet.
Great idea.
The other thing is I wanted to mention, so, I have a whiteboard for you.
Yes, I need it.
So the first part we've talked about today, designated spot for important papers.
Yes.
All right, so everybody probably needs to do that. Both the caregiver and the care receiver needs to have a designated spot for important paperwork. So the second thing is we have to keep the paperwork updated. In my mind, what we decide when I got married at 28, now that we've been married almost 27 years, things have changed. We've moved. I have different insurance. It could be that I have different accounts in different places. Yeah. So this is where I think AARP should be mentioned. I got this at a Prepare to Care section or seminar, Prepare to Care seminar that was hosted by AARP. And in it, it has this great set of files. That's probably the best way to show it. Now, I didn't bring a completed one because I thought it was important to show you something where you fill it in. So you, the caregiver, can fill it in for the loved one, or the loved one could fill it in. But this file is terrific in that it talks about personal info. It does. It has personal information. And then what I did was I made copies of it. Wow. With the thought that perhaps things will change. So if you're like me, I'll put it on there and then things will change and then I'll mark it up and then there'll be 4 or 5 mark outs. So if we make a copy and put it in there, then you always have a master copy that you can write the current information on, was what I was thinking. Wow. But look what the topics are, which I think are so fabulous. So remember, because we're fierce, but we're fabulous at the same time, you need to put those on. Well, no, you're cool and cooler.
I'm cool and cooler.
Okay.
But the cool and cooler guy you just brought to my attention, we did our will years ago when the kids were little, and we left my sister in charge of everything. And even when my sister was going in to get her double lungs,
right,
we never changed the will.
Oh, so it's not. It might have needed to be updated.
Might?
Okay, needed to be updated.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's funny. I brought my will today.
This is good stuff.
I brought my will today to mention because you raise a good point. The first will that John and I did years ago, didn't involve our children. And now, 27 years in, 3 children later, we had to update our will to involve the children. And now 2 of the children are over 18, so the wording in the will is very, very different. So in my mind, let this be the session today where you and I are talking. Let this be a reminder to the caregiver and to the care receiver. Update your important paperwork because things may have changed since you first filled out your paperwork.
So today's session is about making sure the caregiver, who's so busy, you, and you, are so busy taking care of everyone else's paperwork, taking care of everyone else, we're saying slow down a little bit, King Asabi, slow down a little bit, and now we're going to take care of ourselves and our paperwork also.
Right, correct.
Wow.
And sometimes we also need to think it through that that's why I love these tabs. So this tab has personal information listed that you need to be aware of. It says family information, which you need to be aware of, which, that's important.
Yes.
Then it talks about banking information.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now, let me tell you about black people. Let me tell you about black folks.
All right.
Someone here gonna say who's black, and tell me if I'm wrong. You all can just email me, text me, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want my children knowing all my business. How you like them apples?
Well, I'm going to tell you that's your thought. That's fine. I'll let you have that thought. But what
Okay,
you need
thank you.
what you need to think about is you get hit by a car, you're not able to talk, they need to hire a caregiver. Who's going to pay that bill? So they may need to have access to your funds. Somebody might need to have access to your funds to take care of you in this process. So if you don't want your children to know about where your funds are, then maybe somebody else needs to know about how to access your
Are
funds.
you all buying this? Are you all buying this? What do you think they're saying? Because if you get hit by a car and someone needs to take care of you, you need to, we're saying, we're recommending, are we recommending or we're saying, what are we doing?
No, we're suggesting.
We're suggesting that someone else have access to your money just in case.
Just in case.
Some people are like, I don't even want them to know how much money I have.
All right. So let's back up.
Yes.
If we skip the banking tab,
There you go.
all right, and move on.
Because money make people funny.
Money makes people funny. Okay. The real estate is the next tab.
Folk gonna fight over mom and daddy's house.
This is just to have a current record. No fighting is hopefully taking place at this point.
Okay.
The number 7 on this is called estate planning. So this is where they want you to put the legal paperwork. And then on the end here, they have this whole thing about did you serve in the military? Do you have discharge papers from the military someplace safe?
Wow.
Do you know with your insurance policy who is the beneficiary? So in my mind, if all of your policies are in a certain spot, then hopefully when and if, and gosh forbid, we don't want them to have to access them.
Gosh forbid.
I wouldn't say God forbid. I was trying. This is a Christian television show. I was trying to be honest.
Yes. But
Gosh forbid.
What's the difference between gosh and God?
A lot, but we're not going to worry about that right now.
Okay.
All right. So here in my mind, what I'm thinking is, you got me off track, Pastor Odell. Insurance policies.
Yes.
It's important for people to have copies of their insurance policies. Their current insurance policy is important, and that all of the insurance policies you're paying for are in a certain place. There's some record of what you're paying for somewhere, so that if you should wake up one day and not be able to remember, it's in this important file in a designated spot. True story. I dealt with the caregiver not too long ago that came to me, and we were discussing insurance. And he said he had a life insurance policy. And so I said, well, if you want me to review it, I'm happy to review it. So he came in, he had medical insurance, he had military paperwork from where he had been in the service, and then his third thing was life insurance. Mm-hmm. And do you know what had happened? He had remarried, and his life insurance policy, he had put on there, the beneficiary was his second wife, and he had remarried, and he was now on his third wife. So in my mind, he needed to have changed his beneficiary.
Whoa. You just can't do that to me. You know you can't do that to me.
Yes, I can. It's real life. People have changes in their life. It doesn't matter if that person had passed away, got divorced, they're no longer in the picture. You need to make sure that the beneficiaries are up to date and current on all of your insurance policies. Whomever you want to be the beneficiary needs to be written down, and it needs to reflect what you want.
But do you know what would happen at that funeral when people came to the realization that the second ex-wife is getting all the money?
It would not be good, probably.
No, no, no. Let me tell you about a black funeral.
Okay.
Because a black funeral, we have this thing called a repast. That's after the funeral, we come in and we sit down and we have chicken, firmly baked chicken. We have macaroni and cheese. We have green beans.
It doesn't matter what you're
No, no,
eating.
no,
These
no, no.
people have
It does.
passed.
Culture. It does matter because that's when we sit and hug each other. And that's when we said, oh my God, your daddy was so good and everything else. And that's what's missing during COVID. But at the same time, if that second wife, let me take off my shades so you could see me and hear me. If that second wife got that insurance policy and the third wife called the insurance people before the funeral, oh, they're gonna turn it out. The repass is gonna be a repass, all right. They're gonna turn it out.
Okay, so in my mind, it was a real life story, and we all need to learn from somebody who didn't update their beneficiary section.
What did he say when you said, yo, man?
He was like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot."
Oh,
He's
no,
like,
no. He probably said, oh my God, my third wife will
No.
turn it out.
No, I can't actually repeat what he said.
There
but,
you go. There you go. So see, I was right. See?
So,
see?
but it's a show that we need to not use bad language.
No. We're not going to use bad language.
Okay.
However, we want you to understand that, oh my God, oh my gosh, or whatever he said, I forgot to fill it out, will cause repercussions for the rest of some people's lives because unintended consequences are still consequences.
Ooh, that's powerful. Yes, I guess so. So the good thing was that person came and we reviewed their policy, and I encouraged him to update his beneficiary section because it wasn't really what he would want to have happen. So this file is a great example of what we need to be thinking about as we age, as the people we love and care about age, as to how to, like, in my mind, it's sort of like if you're going to go and take a vitamin every day,
Okay,
you're trying to take really good care of yourself.
Right.
This is an extension of that.
Is that AARP?
The file is AARP, yes.
Is that my AARP?
It is your AARP. Tell us what happened with AARP recently,
you can
Pastor
tell what
Odell.
I'm trying to get in there, right?
Yes, I am. Go ahead, tell what happened.
I just want you all to know that AARP
Is a great organization.
is a great organization, and they elected or selected. What's the right word?
Chose.
They chose yours truly, Cool and Cooler, as one of 12 national recipient. What's the word?
If you're going to be bragging on yourself, you need to be saying the right word.
So what's the right word?
Recipient. You were chosen as a recipient. Yes.
Go ahead. I like to hear it.
I can't. I don't really don't remember.
It's called 12 in the whole country. In the whole United States of America, one of 12 national recipients for the local award. That's what they call it, the Local Hero Award. So I want to thank AARP. Do I do my acceptance speech now?
Probably not. We don't have enough time. So no, but you raise a really good point. AARP chose you for this important award because of your efforts in trying to be a community leader in thinking about many things.
The whole country. One of 12 in the whole country.
Exactly.
Do you know how many people in this country?
No, I have no idea.
I thought they chose me for my good looks.
No, it was probably because you have that fancy suit on. You know how you are about fancy suits.
Listen, I know if this is your first time watching us, you're like, what is wrong with this guy? No. Let me explain. Our job is to educate and also allow caregivers to laugh. Because as a caregiver, you don't laugh a lot. I don't laugh a lot. You don't laugh enough.
I don't laugh enough.
But obviously, making fun of yours truly is getting your laugh quota in.
It is, and I can do this all day long. So I'm glad you're ready. You got your fierce but fabulous glasses on, and you're ready.
And I have no socks on.
Let's not see that again if we can help it. I have the third point. It's really important, I think. We go to all this effort. Let's say you go to all this effort. You take these tabs, you filled up the files,
Yes.
you put it in your AARP filing file here, and then you go and you put it in your designated spot. But there's some because of the world that we're in right now, there is a section for this, but you have to make sure you've done it. We don't need to forget passwords for our accounts online, and we don't need to forget keys. I have found that many people, say who are 60, 70, 80, 90 years of age, have safety deposit keys, but they haven't shown anyone where they keep the safety deposit key. So in my mind, there's usually 2 or 3 safety deposit keys, depending upon how many the bank gives you.
Yeah.
But if you haven't told anyone where the safety deposit key is and they don't know to look for it, you're going to have to go through, some hoops to get the safety deposit box open so that you can do whatever you need to do with the information or contents of the safety deposit box. It's also true that there might need to be house keys. There might need to be keys to the fire safe box that you might have. Car keys. In my mind, it's important to have a designated spot for your keys so that if something happens, somebody knows, hey, that's where the safety deposit key is, that's where the car key is, that's where the house key or the shed key. How many shed keys have you lost? We spent a shed, where you put maybe the lawnmower, you put the tools. In my situation with my family, it could also be the paid storage unit.
There you go.
Somebody has a key to the paid storage unit, and now we can't find that key because it looks like all the other 10 keys we've had to the padlock, and we don't know which one to use. So in my mind, it's helpful if we can have a designated spot for important paperwork, a designated spot for keys, and lastly, passwords. Passwords are so important. Do you know where all your passwords are, Pastor Odell?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
He's going to say something important, I can tell. What are you going to say?
If someone else has access to all my email account, all my checking accounts, all my savings accounts, all my 401k, and my not updated will that we will get done, other than my wife, then it's like, wait a minute, they know too much.
I think that's, you raise a great point. What I would encourage you to do, at least write it down. At least have somebody know, somebody other than perhaps your wife. You're going to have to choose.
Oh, no, Bev's my girl. No, my girl.
But what if something happens to Bev? What if you're in the car accident with both of you and somebody needs to act on your behalf? You can count on me for being gloom and doom. I'm all about gloom and doom. I can help you with gloom and doom.
I bet some of the folks who are listening to us right now may fail the test of do you have all your paper in one point? Or they may fail the test. Can I touch your whiteboard, teacher?
Yes, don't smear my words, though.
Thank you. So the whiteboard, the first one's like designated spot for important papers. Right or wrong? When I went to school, they gave me a big old red X, X, X. Okay? The second one, what? Update paperwork. Wrong, X, X, X. The third one, don't forget passwords and keys. You know I write my passwords out. I forget my passwords all the time. X, X, X. So I would have got a 0. I would have got a 0.
So after you watch this session today, what we're going to hope folks do is make a list. Oh, you know how I like lists.
Oh, yeah, you like lists.
And we're just going to start small.
Got it.
And the first thing is you're going to find a designated spot.
Okay, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pass this test. This is an open book test.
So in my mind, if it's not your children that you want to manage your affairs, tell someone what you want to have happen. It's important, I think. And if you ruffle some feathers, you ruffle some feathers. That happens.
Yeah.
But you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, because my children are going to see this and going to be like, Daddy, you don't trust us? I trust you all.
If you don't have someone that you feel can help you in making decisions, important decisions within your family, then maybe you look outside your family to do that.
To my children, I trust you all. I love all of you all. You know how Daddy feels about you. But sometimes you get a little preoccupied in your own lives. I understand that. So I don't want Daddy's affairs to be an afterthought. That's all I'm trying to say.
Define afterthought.
We got to do this. Don't look at it until something happens. Because what you're saying is,
Talk
we're
about it
talking
ahead of
about,
time.
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Okay. I think that as what I've learned in helping caregivers
Yes.
is if you can start the communication early on about your wishes, your desires, even if you're uncomfortable with it, write down what you want to have happen and leave it in a certain spot. And you say to them, should this happen to me, it's here, it's written down, it's in this spot.
So should I tell them the will is 33, 33, 34? Because I have two natural born sons, Calvin Odell Cleveland III and Tecumseh Lewis Cleveland, and a nephew who we raised, Adrian Richardson Cleveland. So do I tell them who's getting the 34 and the other two is getting the 33?
I think you should, yes. I mean, it's being honest. You're setting the tone for open communication.
One of you all are getting 34%. The other two are getting 33%. But for that to happen to Miss Gloom and Doom here, me and your mama had to have been in an accident together. So, hey, don't blow it all in one place, guys.
Well, in my mind,
I did what you told me to do.
yeah, you're right. I don't know that telling a camera is telling the camera what you want to have happen as opposed to really going over the will with them.
I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do
Okay.
that too.
All right. So we have 3 things that are goals with this program. The first one is we're educating people. The second thing is we're also informing them. Is that the
Yes,
same thing?
yes.
And then the third thing is we want people to have fun.
And laugh.
Okay.
Because laughter is important.
Okay.
Why do you think I put on these shades and all this kind of stuff? You know I'm Cool Mo D.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but
You
that's
don't know who Cool Mo D is?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we'll kind of go from there. So, what's the name of the show?
Our show name is Caregiver Convo.
How did we come up with Caregiver Convo and why? Because we're having a conversation about caregiving because this show looks out for those who care for others. We want you to laugh. That's part of our looking out. That's part of our caring. We want you to smile. We want you to say, that Odell's crazy. You want you to say, Odell, you talk too much. Let Alexis talk. And what do you want them to see?
We also want you all to feel educated, that you learned something, that your burden or your responsibility with caregiving is lessened, that you feel like you gained something from watching this episode. Thank you very much. Join us again. We hope to see you soon.